Well, certainly this is positive news flow. There's been positive and negative news over the past year. There's certainly a lot of checkpoints that Boeing has to tick before it can start bringing this plane back into service. It's got to take that recertification flight with the FAA, get approval from the FAA and then global regulators, start delivering these planes, and then start booking the revenues again. So there's a lot of things to move. There's pilot training. There's the fact that Southwest and American did delay the relaunch of this plane until March. So there's a lot of news flow, but Boeing is certainly moving in the right direction. I think the most important thing is that the paradigm is now shifting from if this plane comes back into service to when it's going to come back into service.
When can Boeing start booking the revenue in this timeline?
Yeah, I think they can start booking the revenues on delivery. So they get the FAA certification, the plane stops being grounded, that ground is lifted. They start delivering these planes. They get actual final cash deposits for the final delivery of these planes, book that as revenue, and actually add to their cash balances. So things start moving in the right direction, probably, if not late December, then by January.
So, Jim, we just talked with Phil. I assume you heard it, where I asked about what the consumer acceptance of this aircraft is likely to be. Do you have any perspectives on that? Do you think people will stay away from it, not care about it for a little while, and then forget? What?
Yeah, I have a unique perspective since I cover both aerospace and airlines. It's been my perspective that the airline customers vote with their pocketbook. There may be some initial reticence to fly these planes the first week, but as we start to compile data showing that these planes are flying safely, Boeing and the airlines will put out a major PR push to educate consumers about the changes made to the plane. I think ultimately passengers will fly these planes. Number one, they have limited number of choices if they want to get to the destination. Number two, these planes will be found to be overwhelmingly safe, and they will be a huge PR push put on by Boeing, I think, to help that along.
I understand, Jim, that planes on order are in backlog and it's not easy to switch. But in the future, are you worried that carriers have grown frustrated with Boeing because of this incident? And I'm thinking specifically of this New York Times article, an interview with Doug Parker of American Airlines, where he expresses once again his frustration with Boeing. He says it's not the FAA changing the condition, it's the manufacturer either setting too aggressive a view as to when they will have the conditions met or not being able to deliver what they said they were going to deliver. I'm wondering if you think Boeing has a credibility issue going forward for future orders of planes.
Yeah, I think Boeing's entire legacy and credibility is on the line here. They need to get this relaunch correct. They only get one chance to do it. Their entire reputation going forward is on the line. If you talk about American Airlines and Doug Parker, their perspective is a little different because they're one of the few U.S. airlines that fly both Boeing and Airbus planes, so they can make a shift in their order book. It's much harder for a company like Southwest that only flies the 737 to change.
Are you
but
concerned
certainly
that's going to
Boeing
happen?
has to get this right.
Are you concerned that that's going to happen?
I think America may be posturing for a better price from Boeing, some concessions maybe, some larger concessions than Boeing's willing to offer. I think that may be posturing. I think the economics of the 737 MAX are very compelling, and the plane basically sells itself as long as this launch comes out correctly and the plane is deemed to be safe.
But you raise a really interesting point there. I would imagine if I'm an airline CEO, I'm going to drive a harder bargain than I would have 3 years ago for deliveries of this plane and maybe other Boeing aircraft.
I think that's absolutely true. I think you have a unique position if you are an airline executive that wants to buy planes. You can get an excellent price, almost like an initial launch customer would get for a new aircraft order. I'm sure these planes are on sale right now. Boeing's looking to book new orders and add to the positive PR flow. Look, people are buying these planes. So yeah, you probably can get a really good price.
It's going to be show me and show me how much you love me.
Well, have you modeled that in, Jim, that these planes are on sale? And that the revenues book will be less than before? Yeah,
I certainly have modeled some of that in. Obviously, the numbers are fluctuating. I think if you look at 2020, it's still a year where you can't really judge the operations of the company on a standalone basis. If you look at 2021, it's much more normalized. I think the consensus numbers for 21 are $23 a share for Boeing. If you attach a normalized PE multiple to that, it's much higher in the share price than where we are right now.